Hello, everyone. It's story time again. Today's story is called My Early Years. My name is Stephen. I was born at the Addington Hospital in the heart of the city of Durban. I am the youngest of 3 children. My dad at the time was a priest of a church in Overport, Christchurch, a suburb of Durban. On Sundays, my mum would take me to church in my carry cot, all snuggled up and warm and well fed. She used to place me under the church pew, and I used to sleep through the entire service. After the service, I was told many people looked after me and my brothers. The lovely thing about belonging to a church family is that the older people spoil you. It was a happy few years that we enjoyed at Christchurch Overport. We made many friends and we had many visitors from within the country and from abroad. There was always somebody who came to stay with us because church houses were not just for the church family. It was for the broader family and indeed for the wider church. This was because we were children of a priest. Our home was always open to others. Oftentimes, we would have prayer meetings in our home, in the lounge, and Dad would have many meetings there with parish councillors, dance groups, music groups, all sorts of meetings took place at the church house. My mum even had an exercise class there with her friends on a Monday morning where they danced to music and kept in shape. Well, these were all the fun things that happened in a church rectory as I was growing up. I was the happy recipient of a lot of love, and gifts were plenty. What more could a kid want? A happy childhood? Yes, indeed. What was more, my mum taught Sunday school. So there was no way my brothers and I could ever miss church, especially as we stayed on the church premises. The other wonderful thing about Christchurch was the verger. His name was Phillip, just like our surname. And as I was growing up and able to walk, he used to come and collect me each morning and take me with him to the church. And I would watch him sweep, clean, dust the entire inside of the church together with the church pews. And then, when it was lunchtime, he would bring me home again for my lunch, and he would have his. But after he's had his lunchtime, he would again come and fetch me. And then we would go into the hall, and he would clean the hall, and I would watch and inspect his work, all of 1.5 years old. That was so lovely. He used to affectionately call us, me and my brothers, the 3 monkey boys. I thought it was such a funny name, but that was his name for 3 of us. He loved playing with us, he loved joking with us, and he really, really loved our family too. When I was 2 years old, we left this Overport church to go to New York City. I don't remember the long flight, but I do remember going to a preschool when we got to New York City, and this was situated on the basement level of our apartment building. I made friends with other children there who were also 3. And sometimes they would visit us upstairs on the 6th floor because we just lived upstairs. But we were only there for 3 years. And so when I was almost 5, we left to come back to South Africa. And once in South Africa, I attended Clayton Primary School in grade 1 and in grade 2. Then we moved to Westville. My father became the priest of St. Elizabeth's Church in Westville. So I attended the Westville Secondary School by then. I remember at our school play was an Egyptian feast, and there was one of the Egyptian dances. Mum still laughs till today because I had very skinny, long legs, and I had to prance around in a very short leather skirt, like the Egyptian dancers, with headdress and all. It must have made a very, very silly sight. However, I thought I was the bee's knees. I also made many friends there because it was fun to be at Westville Secondary School. The thing about being a priest's kid, you get to move homes and schools very often. When we left Westville, we went to Pretoria. My dad was elected Dean of St. Albans Cathedral. And once again, I had to adjust to another setting, school, as well as play, as well as church. But it was cool because it was at St. Albans Cathedral in Pretoria that I made my confirmation. I had lots of friends, and I went to the local school there. And I tried out for the cricket and rugby team, and I got both of them. So each season, I would play either rugby or cricket. And then a year and a half later, after being in Pretoria, Dad was called back to Natal as the Suffragan bishop, which meant another move. But my mum and I and my 2 brothers, we stayed on for the next 6 months to the end of the school year because she was teaching and we were both all at school still. But the cool thing was that we had music at our school in Pretoria. And my brother Lance, who was a new student at the University of Music in Pretoria, Tuckey's University, he came to teach us how to read music. That was the cool thing. But I never got away with anything. He was very strict even with me. Oh dear. But when we came back to Natal, I was older then. And then I went to Durban High School. And my older brothers were finished with school. But I remember playing rugby for the under 15s. And when Byron, a very avid rugby player who played for Westville Boys High, used to come to play against the Durban High School boys in rugby, I had to carry his bag, and it was heavy. It had all sorts in it. His socks and his shoes and his jersey and his shorts that he played rugby in. And what was more and less exciting was that at the end of the game, I had to pack all these smelly things back into his bag and carry it to the bus and see him off at the bus. That was my job when he came to play rugby at our school. Not too cool, was it? But I admired him. He was a good player. But those years go by so quickly as well. Looking back, all in all, my early years were mostly enjoyable. And so I thank God for my early years. Hope you enjoyed the story.